Good morning and welcome to Pike Creek Farm. My name is Renee, and if this is your first time here, thank you for stopping by. And if you're a returning visitor, thank you. I really appreciate it. Today I have out the magic bag with all the vintage recipes. And in here I have some canning recipes that my mom had brought me. And I have a neighbor who said that his mom used to make mustard pickles and he loved them. So my mom made mustard pickles too when I was growing up, and I used to like them. It's just something different. And so I looked up her recipe, and it has actually yellow mustard in it, and I looked at yellow mustard and there is nothing in it that doesn't make it safe, the ingredients. So we're going to make mustard pickles today. And here's her recipe. And her recipe calls for 8 cups of cucumbers, and you chunk them up like 3/4 of an inch. And it has vinegar, water, sugar. It has 1.5 cups of vinegar, so it keeps the acidity level, and 1 cup of water. It has prepared yellow mustard, and the ingredients for mustard is just vinegar, water, mustard seed, salt, turmeric, and paprika. So nothing that is not safe to can. And it has some horseradish in it and some kosher salt or canning salt. And you make the brine and you put it over the pickles. And her notes do say that it looks cloudy when you make the brine, right from the mustard and everything, but it's okay. They turn out great. And I remember them as a little girl. They were very yellow and they had a little bit of bite to them and a different tang. They weren't like your normal pickles. But I am going to try and make these today. These are water bathed, and Mom used to water bath them for 5 minutes for pints, but now pickles are 10 minutes for the recipe, so I will process them for what is the standard by today for pickles. And so I'm going to start washing the cucumbers, scrubbing them up, and then I'll chunk up, and I'm going to do 16 cups because I want to make a double batch. I want to have 8 pints. And I'll bring you back after I have the cucumbers washed and chunked up, because that's probably not the most exciting thing to watch, but we'll get going. Thank you very much. So the ingredients for the brine, the first ingredient is 1.5 cups of vinegar, and I am doubling this, so I need 3 cups. Trying to see if I'm there. Oh, well, this is at the 2-cup measure, so I need it full. I'm sorry. It's been a long holiday weekend. This is July 4th that I'm doing this. The pickles were picked, so I need to use them. And I did cut off both ends, but you need to cut off at least the blossom end or your pickles won't turn out. They'll be bitter and they won't get crisp. So this is 3 cups. Then it calls for 1 cup of water, so we're gonna fill this up. I'll have 2 cups. 1 cup of water, 2 cups actually. 2 cups of water, and now it calls for 1 cup of sugar. So we will have 2 cups of sugar. I made 21 quarts of different kinds of dill pickles a couple weeks ago. So I just need some bread and butter and these kind of pickles, and I'll be doing pickled beets too, my mom's recipe. So it calls for 1/2 cup, so there'll be 1 cup of prepared mustard. Now, there are some mustard pickle recipes that I saw that had like a variety of vegetables in them, and they used ground mustard instead of the prepared mustard. But the guy who, my neighbor, his mom made hers with the same as my mom did, the prepared mustard, so that is why we're doing it this way. looking for something to get the extra mustard out. These definitely have the tang of mustard in these pickles, so if you don't like mustard, you will not like these pickles. They're just something different for a snacking pickle, or to go on a meat and cheese tray, or just on a relish tray. The next ingredient is 2 teaspoons, so I'll need 4 teaspoons of kosher salt. One, 2, 3, 4. Then 1 teaspoon, there'll be 2 teaspoons of horseradish. You just want plain horseradish. You don't want it to have any mayonnaise, you don't want it to be a horseradish sauce, you just want horseradish. So that's it. And when it comes to a boil, we'll start packing the jars with cucumbers and putting in the brine and putting the lids and rings on. The brine is heated up and the sugar is all dissolved. So we are ready to start packing the jars. And they're big chunky pickles, as you can see. So I'm gonna try and pick some of the smaller ones to fit in certain areas. I am going to Florida Saturday to visit my parents and my mom. She turns 86 next week on the 13th, and she is still inpatient. She's in a long-term care facility now, and they're gonna hopefully start back up therapy, and hopefully she'll improve where she can come home. But I don't know. It's definitely a challenge for her. Okay, so these are in there, and we want to fill to a 1/2 inch headspace. It's very yellow and it is cloudy. She did say that in the recipe, but they don't stay that way. Now deep bubble. You can see sometimes the little bubbles coming up. And when there was air pockets, push down the cucumbers that popped up. And I forgot, I'm going to add 1/8 teaspoon of pickle crisp. I add it to all my other pickles, and it does help keep them nice and crisp. So I will poke that down in there. Okay, wipe off the edge. And I forgot where I put my jar, my lids, my flats. Screw it on just till it stops, just finger tight. And so this one I'm going to put the pickle crisp on the bottom like I normally do. And put in some pickles. And I might start cutting some of these even in half so that they all fit in here better. I seem to remember Mom doing that. She made these pickles because she liked them a lot. I don't think my dad would touch them, but she always enjoyed them. So it's a small batch, you know, like one recipe only makes 8 jars. I keep my jars in the dishwasher. I run them through a cycle and keep them hot in there. Here's the pickle crisp. Now we'll pack the jars. I have the water in my canner heating up. I don't want to put these jars with warm brine into an ice cold canner. It can cause your jars to break and the bottoms to fall out. And that's a real mess. If any of you have a favorite pickle recipe or canning recipe that your mom used to make, put it down below. Let us know what it is, because I think it's really fun to see, you know, what different parts of the country, what you grew up with and what your family traditions were. Half inch. You can tell where a half inch is on your jar. It's the middle rung there. And if you have a debubbler like this, it also lets you know. Just don't tip over the jar as you're doing it like I almost did. Guess it's been a long weekend. It's been a fun weekend though, with family, and babysat my granddaughter, and our son was here from Allendale. Okay, now I don't like the way that looks down here. See how there's no brine there? So I did not debubble good down there, I don't think. I want to make sure that there's not an air bubble there. That's so. And there, it's gone now. I am using ball lids today. I think there's a couple of 4 jars. I really like the 4 jar lids, and I've been using them. So I'm going to keep packing the jars, putting the brine in, debubbling, wiping the rim, and putting the lids on and putting them in the canner. And I'll bring you back when that's all done. Here's the last jars. I thought I would give you a clue as to what I had found worked really good was if I had pockets down here where the pickles weren't covered by the brine. I have a towel down here, and if I tap gently, it would make it all fit better. That doesn't replace debubbling though. I still debubble. The brine worked out perfect. There was just a tiny bit left. Here's the jars all in there. I'm going to turn the heat up, lower the rack, and put the lid on. My canner has come to a full boil. So Set the timer to 10 minutes. If I was doing quarts, it would be 15 minutes. Turn the heat down a little, and when the timer goes off, I'll remove the lid, and I wait a few minutes, then I lift up the rack, and then I can remove them to my canning area where I let everything rest for 24 hours. Here they all are, out of the canner. Some of them I've already pinged. They are cloudy looking, like Mom says in the recipe. And if I remember correctly, that all settles. And, oh, did you hear that ping? That's the best sound ever. Thank you for coming along today on my vintage canning recipe that I've updated. And like I said, this is not one of the approved recipes from, the government or from Ball. So please take that into consideration. I feel comfortable doing it for my family, but I want you to do what you feel comfortable with. There is nothing in here that is not allowed to be canned, because there are recipes that do have prepared mustard in them too. So thank you for stopping by today, and like this video if you want to see more like this. I have some other old recipes, and also subscribe to my channel, and I will do a video where I use these later on and you can see how they are. Thank you for stopping by.